This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, here we are, March 1st, 2022. And not only did I land a new job today, but I have an awesome interview guest who is we're going to be celebrating the 20th anniversary of a film that well, we'll get into the background of that momentarily. The film is Kung Pao Enter the Fist. And I have the Boombox guy, the Boombox Henchman himself on the show, Nes Rodriguez. How do you do, Nes?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, it's so cool to be on this show because I'm so used to being on interviews regarding hip hop and rap music because a lot of people in that genre will know that I'm one of the fathers and founders of hip hop music, and I go by the name of Nasty Ness. So
Nasty
for you,
Nes.
no, I see you're laughing, but they really do. But hey, man, but look at you, man. You're what, the Python Hyena?
Yep, yep, the Python Hyena. They're two of my
That's
favorite animals. Yep.
so yeah, man. Just lay it on me. I've been a martial artist since I was 13 years old, and I'm going to be 61 in a few weeks.
Oh,
And
come on. You're only 39. You're not fooling anybody.
thank you. All right. So what's going on, my man?
Well, you know what? I'm going to give you my Kung Pao story. I saw that in the theater back in 2002. I can't believe it's been 20 years. Where has the time gone? I saw that as a double billing with Mothman Prophecies. I saw Mothman Prophecies first, and that film kind of bored me. You know, I went into Kung Pao knowing nothing about it. And I went into this movie and I laughed my ass off through the entire thing. Here's the funny thing. People leaving the theater were complaining about it. They were complaining about the bad dubbing and the bad this, the bad that. And I'm looking at them like, did you not get the joke? I think I was the only one in that theater that got the joke. And now the film's got a cult following, but I feel like I was already on the bandwagon for that film from the get-go. And people are just now getting it. But
So let me ask a question. It was what was the other movie called?
the Mothman Prophecies.
Okay, Mr. Gilbert, I've never heard of that movie before. Who starred in that Mothman
I think
prophecy?
I think that was Richard Gere and Laura Linney, if I remember correctly.
Richard Gere. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Well,
yeah.
I've never heard of Mothman prophecies, and I don't think I'll ever watch it.
It did nothing for me, But Kung Pao, like I said, people didn't get it. And for me, I had such a great time with that film, and of course I still laugh at that film. Of course it was Steve Odekirk taking Tiger and Crane Fist and dubbing his own stuff on it. I wish he would do that to do another one, I hated Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor. I hated that
Mhm.
movie with a passion. There's a movie that needs a Kung Pao effect on it.
Oh no, that one? Oh
Yeah,
man. Okay. Well,
yeah.
you'll have a lot of people in Hawaii mad at you for saying that one.
Well, you know what? It would have been fine if it was about Pearl Harbor, but instead it was a 3 hour love triangle. It was
Right.
I didn't sign up for that.
Yeah,
Watch
I
two
hear
guys
you.
fight over a nurse. I wanted to actually come away feeling like I did when I saw Apocalypse Now or Platoon, like feeling like the effects of what actually happened,
Hmm.
not see who's going to win um, Kate Beckinsale's hand.
So you didn't have any after effects after watching Mothman Prophecy?
Yeah, I watched Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
All right. Okay. Well, that's good. That's a good answer. There you go.
Yeah, that was my after effect. And it was a good after effect. You see,
And I'm
I
happy.
had, and I remember when it came out on video, I got a copy of it, and my younger brother, who's my tech guy at the time, said he would not watch this movie. He had no desire to watch this movie. Well, he was doing some stuff on my computer one day, fixing something or other, or updating something. And I just kind of stuck it in my player because I was like, he's going to like this, whether he realizes it or not. He spent more time glancing at that television than at the computer screen.
Wow.
So it won him over, you know? And I gotta ask, like, flat out, because you're the boombox henchman, you know, you're the one
That's
that
right.
comes in and plays "Can't Touch This" and stuff like this, and tone loc whenever music is needed to play. How did you get involved with the film?
Well, I got to tell you, and for those watching and listening, I'm the guy who discovered Sir Mix-a-Lot. Uh,
Oh,
most,
nice.
most people know the song "Baby Got Back," so
Hmm.
that's in the film too. So it's kind of cool how him and I are reunited via Kung Pao by me dancing to his music. But how I got involved in it, coming up as an actor, my agent sends me out on all these auditions, and then there was one audition, and it was a kung fu movie. So I'm going to tell you, I had no clue what this kung fu movie was about. I just read it, and I go, "Oh wow, there's going to be fighting scenes." I had no clue it was a comedy. I never even heard of Steve Odekirk, but I've heard of the movies that he's, been a part of, The Nutty Professor and so forth. But I didn't put two and two together yet, you know. So when I went to the audition, the guy asked me to just show some of my martial art moves because they said I needed to know martial art, and I'm originally from the original Bruce Lee school in Seattle, the Joan Fan Kung Fu Institute. So I figured, okay, well, I'll do some of that, and then I'll just add some high kicks to make it look cool, and some sound effects to make it look like I really know what I'm doing. And so I did the audition, and I said, gee, I wonder if they're gonna call me back. And they didn't call me back until 3 months later. They called me back, and then they said they wanted me to audition again. And I go, oh, okay, well, I'm cool. All right. Start stretching out, ready to do martial arts. And they said, no, we don't want to see you do martial arts. We want you to hold this boom box, and we're gonna play some music, and we just want to see you dance. And I was like, really? That's all I gotta do is dance because see, I'm a DJ, and most DJs, if you're a good DJ, you don't know how to dance. I guarantee you don't know how to dance or sing, but you can DJ on the turntables. So that was me. I don't know how to dance, but I know how to make fun of dancing. So I started remembering my early days going to the strip clubs and watching the girls dance. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna make this a funny one, and I'm gonna hold the boombox. I'm gonna start twirling my butt around and slapping my butt and just have fun. Well, guess what? A week later, my manager calls. She goes, "You got the part." I go, "You serious?" And I told her, I go, "Did you know what I did for my audition? They wanted me just to dance holding a boombox." She goes, "Really?" I go, "Yeah, really." But I got the part, so I was so happy. And then and next thing I know, I got a ticket to go to Tijuana, Mexico, hotel, getting paid and everything, but I still had no clue what the movie was about. I thought it was a serious kung fu film.
Well, you're in for a surprise.
Oh yeah, So every time when I saw them talking, it just didn't make sense. Like if I'm talking to you right now, and then all of a sudden I'm saying to you, so yeah, I'm getting married. The weather's nice, and I love to eat liver for breakfast and chicken for dinner, and I hate your mom, and just talking, it didn't make sense. But it would talk for a certain amount of time, and the other person would say something. So you get the idea when they're talking, it's not matching what the original dialogue is. It just because you got the joke, right? You got the
Yeah.
joke. So, so I saw them doing that. I go, this is really strange. And then when it came to my part, it said I went. I had to go in this. First, I had to go in the studio with a green screen behind me, and there was nothing behind me except a green screen. And they played music, and they just wanted me to dance for like a good 15 minutes, and then that was it. Then I took a trip to Tijuana, Mexico, because they have a 20th Century Fox lot there where they actually film the Titanic that Leonardo DiCaprio's in. They filmed it there. So I'm there, and
I'm
we're in
still
this.
gonna say Kung Pao's a better movie than Titanic.
Well, so here I am. It's like 90 degrees outside, and then we're like in the mountains somewhere. Uh, and then he just tells me, "Okay, when I say dance, dance." And they play, So they said bring your own music that if you feel comfortable dancing. So I brought music like Ice Cube, CNC Music Factory, music that wasn't in the film, but it made me dance. It gave me the groove to dance and stuff. So we did like four different shots of me dancing, and one shot indoors where I had the boombox, and and he throws the shuriken weapon into my boombox, and so I'm supposed to pretend like I see it go into my boombox, and then I get scared and I walk away, and so everything that I did for the film just did not make sense. I didn't know what it really didn't. And then when I was invited to the grand preview screening, private screening only, I watched it, and oh my gosh, like you, I just could not stop laughing. I was like, I said, wow. I said, I wonder if people are going to take this serious, you know? And I just said, well, I always wanted to be like Bruce Lee. I lived in Seattle. He lived in Seattle. Um, he's in a kung fu movie. I'm in a kung fu movie. I know Wing Chun Kung Fu. He knows Wing Chun Kung Fu. So I said, yeah, I'm going to be just like Bruce Lee. And so I did the movie. And let me share something with you that let me share something that might inspire people watching. As a kid growing up, I was picked on, bullied, so I really didn't have any self-esteem until I learned how to be more positive in everything that I do. And one thing that I did do coming up as a kid was I would visualize myself going into the theater, and if you remember in movies, in the beginning, it'll go dun da 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 dun 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 da 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 da. You would see that. And I said, one day I'm going to go inside the theater, I'm going to sit down, and I'm going to be in a movie where it opens up with that music. And then it did that with Kung Pao because it was 20th Century Fox. So the curtain opened and it goes dun 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 dun. And I was like, oh gosh, my dream came true. And I tell you, if you really believe you can conceive and achieve, it really works if you really believe in it. And that was one of the most memorable happenings in my life. And I've had many, but that one was one of the most. And just to hear from you, who I've never met before, 20 years later, to want to talk to me about this, man, that really means a lot to me, Greg. It really does. So I'm so happy to be here, just sharing my story with you.
I'm so happy to celebrate the film because I'm going to tell you, I love this movie. I had so much fun with it. There's so many things in this movie, but when it come down to, of course, you mentioned Sir Mix-a-Lot. You had the Tone Loc song. How did the songs get picked?
Well, I had no clue they were going to be in the movie. They have usually when you do movies or TV shows or whatever, they have someone in charge of music. So I had nothing to do with them who picked the music, but they picked the right music though for me to dance to. I tell you, MC Hammer, that's a good friend of mine. When they played "You Can't Touch This," but let me ask you this, Greg. I before watching this, are you or were you a fan of watching kung fu movies at all? Did you grow up
Actually,
watching
it's,
them?
it's funny you mentioned that. I said Tone Loc. I meant MC Hammer. What was I thinking of?
Uh,
I meant MC Hammer. I was thinking Tone Loc for some weird reason. Yeah, it
that's
was. You
okay.
can't touch this. Is MC Hammer. Um, did I grow up watching kung fu movies? Not really. I watched them later on in life. I'm going to be 50 this year, so I definitely grew up with that stuff. My favorite genres are horror and comedy. Yeah,
Nice.
but definitely I've seen my share of kung fu movies. Yeah, absolutely, and Bruce Lee, of course, is one of the catalysts of the genre. But I wanted to know, what was your reaction when you first saw this movie?
Like I said, prior to going there, I had no clue. I had a script, but the script was nothing like watching the movie. Um, because I remember watching the original version of the movie, because the star of the original version was a martial artist named Wang Yu, who was very popular in the kung fu in Hong Kong and all that. And I knew who that was, and then I noticed, I go, well, that's weird. They took his body, but they put Steve Odekirk's face
You mean that
over his
wasn't
body.
Steve's body?
No, that was some of the scenes was with Steve's body, but majority of it wasn't his body. It was his face, you know. But man, I walked out of there like clapping my hands, and I was so happy, I remember going there with who did I go with? I think an ex girlfriend at the time, and Mariah Carey's brother Morgan, who's also a big martial arts fan. So he sat there with me. I think he enjoyed it. But it was funny, my sister who lives in New York, um, she went to go see it, and she said, "Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I went in the theater, watched it, and it was only me and another person in the theater watching it. I don't think it's going to be that popular." I go, "Really? Well, that kind of sucks." In New York, But on the brighter side, uh, friends of mine that I haven't talked to or seen, or just weren't talking to because we had a falling out, sitting in the theater looking and go, "Is that Nasty Ness? Huh? Is that Ness?" And then they see my name in the credits, Nasty Ness, and then they call me up, and it really brought back a few relationships that I had with friends that we weren't talking anymore, and then we are talking again. So on the brighter side, that movie really did a few miracles for me.
Pal brings people together. It
Is it?
it unites.
All right.
So you're a DJ now. Do you still DJ for Master Paint? Excuse me, Betty.
For Betty? No, I don't DJ for Betty anymore. but I do. If you like old school music, especially hip hop, the classic stuff, you can hear me every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. It's a
Hmm.
show that I do called K Fox Night Beat. You hear the mixes on there, all the classic stuff that I played when it was brand new back then. I started radio in about 1980, so I was one of the first guys playing hip hop, and that was up in Seattle,
Hmm.
Washington. But yeah, but no, I don't DJ for Master Betty.
So he doesn't like call up and go bird, bird,
Oh,
tiger,
that was
tiger.
that was hilarious, man. My friends always laugh at that part, and then that one guy who every time he walks, his shoes make that noise, you know. That
Yep.
and then the girl, the wee wee wee.
I posted a clip of that for Valentine's Day. I said, for all you people who want something romantic to watch.
Well, it's funny because she from the original film they used her, and then they also had a double. in certain parts of the film where they used a stand-in, a girl who looks similar to her, and Steve Odekirk, who was actually there in person. So when they were doing the dialogue, she just didn't make sense what she was talking. And now I know why, because her only lines in the movie are wheel, wheel, wheel. Oh, oh well.
Oh wow. So they used the actress from the film, the Tiger and Crane Fist.
Well, they used the one who was originally in it. They didn't find her 30 years later and put her in there. They used the original footage of her from the original film. But
Okay.
there's certain scenes where they had to find a lookalike to recreate new
Oh,
scenes.
okay.
Yeah, which is what they did. So
So did here's a question. Do you know what any of the original cast from Tiger and Crane Fist thought of this? Did any of them ever say anything about this reconstruction of them?
man, honestly, I have no clue, man, because they're probably all dead by now. you know? But yeah, that's a good question. I wonder what they thought of it. Yeah, that's a good question. I have to, if I ever run into Wang Yu, the original star, because he's still alive, I believe. I'll ask him. But I think Betty and everyone else, they're all gone.
You know, Betty is a brilliant magician. Your clothes are black.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. Now it's blue.
Clothes are red.
Yeah,
I loved it. Loved
yeah,
it. Loved
yeah.
it.
So those that are watching and listening, if they haven't watched Kung Pao Under the Fist, they won't understand our jokes, your jokes. You just have to watch the movie, and when you watch it, you'll understand why it's so funny to us.
Well, it
But yeah,
also shows how quick-witted Steve Odekirk is, because
isn't
it's
he?
like, yeah, because it's like he had two different scenes where the clothes were changed on this guy, and he was like, okay, this is what I'll do. Even like another scene that was so funny. He goes talking to this guy, and he goes, "Why are you in bed right now?" The guy's in bed.
or, or the dog. You remember the dog in there, and then how they dub Chinese movies with the voice.
Yep.
So the dog's barking, and it's dead air until like 3 seconds later. You know, and
Oh,
that was funny.
oh, so many great things. The gopher chucks instead of nunchucks, gopher
Oh
chucks.
yeah, yeah.
Of course,
Wow.
one of the martial arts enemies is a bikini clad woman.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that one.
And of course, who could forget the Matrix takeoff where he fights the cow? And
Oh
of course,
yeah.
there is a little reference to an American Werewolf in London in there,
Is
because
it?
because an American Werewolf in London, what are the two backpackers warned? They're told to stay off the moors.
Uh
Well,
huh.
Steve Urquhart is told to stay off wherever it is he's supposed to stay off of, and when he trails off, he runs into a very unusual cow.
Oh, I never knew that. Okay. Well,
I'm
that's
I,
cool.
I'm willing to guess the cow wasn't part of the original movie.
Well, you know what? It might have been in the script, and that's why when I read it, it just didn't make sense. It just didn't make. It actually was in the script, but it just didn't make sense. You know. But now after watching it, it makes sense
I mean,
why he was in the.
I got
Mhm.
to see a cow headbutt Steve Odekirk and then pile drive him. I mean, and it jumps up and it shoots the milk out, and he bends backwards like the Matrix. And I'm like, okay,
Yep.
greatest martial arts scene ever.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, so many, and of course there's that's a lot of nuts.
Everything that you bring up, all my friends bring up the same parts of the movie, and it's hilarious, man.
Oh, I love it. I like I said, of course, you got the old guy who's where the screen freezes. He goes, Okay, I had a couple of options. I could duck past and then blah, blah, blah. Or I could take that claw right to the face.
Uh
I took number two. Guess I should have. I guess it was the wrong answer or something like that.
or the one guy, every time he's about to tell him what's wrong, he just starts to fart. You know, uncontrollable fart scenes, and oh my gosh, yeah. Now I'm gonna have to watch the movie
I
again.
love this movie, and of course, you got the the one-breasted woman.
You know what? And I didn't even meet her on the set. That's the one I really wanted to meet after I saw that scene, because I've never seen something like that before. And yeah, so that's one thing that I did not see in person was the one-breasted woman.
Jennifer Tongue. Yeah, I reached out to her but never heard back. But I
Uh
loved it when she comes down ever so elegantly and she lands on that box. It breaks. She falls down.
huh. So when you reached out to others from the movie, did anyone else respond aside from me?
You're the only one.
Ah, see, yeah, so you see, remember that, man.
Yeah.
I was the
Well,
only one.
but here's the thing. I'm glad that I got you because when I put this up, people will see this and it's like, you know what? They're having so much fun talking about Kung Pao. I got to check this out or relook at it again, because I love to celebrate movies I absolutely love and just come on here and when Kung Pao, like I said, I can't believe it's been 20 years. It seems
Yeah,
like
you're right.
yesterday I saw that in the theaters, but it's one of those movies I just wanted to celebrate this year, and I'm so glad that I got you. And so I reached out to a few people. I reached out to Steve Odekirk and never heard back, and
Uh
but
huh.
I understand he's the chosen one.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Talk about working with Steve.
He is a very nice guy. Like and when I did the movie, I had no clue he was a big director. I never even heard his name before.
I think he
Uh,
had no clue he was either.
you know, but he was so kind, and man, it was great. Everyone I worked with on there, I have no complaints, and which is great. Everyone on the set, uh, people that live in Tijuana who took me out. It was one of the best experiences I've ever experienced. Only complaint I do have is that it was a nice hotel they put me in, but there was no air conditioning in the hotel. No air conditioning, and it was like 90 degrees out there in Tijuana. But aside from that, Steve's a great guy. I've always heard rumors that they want to do a part two.
I hope
Uh,
they do. I hope they
yeah,
do.
I mean, I haven't. It's been 20 years, but I've aged pretty well since then. I don't really look old and frail, But I don't know if I can do the dance moves, but it might be even more funnier because my dance moves would probably look like an old man dancing, But I would love to be in it again, That was a great movie, man. Yeah, I hope Steve. If he does it again, I hope he calls me. I'll put it that way.
You know what? It's funny because I love making discoveries for movies and there's a lot of movies that are big now that I feel like I discovered before a lot of people did.
Oh
Like
yeah.
in like in 1998, well, everybody was going to stuff like Armageddon, which I didn't care for. I went to a little movie that has since become a huge cult classic called The Big Lebowski.
Hmm.
Loved it. I saw Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas that year, which flopped and has since gone on to form in fact, I attended a midnight screening of it a few years after, and it was packed. You know,
Wow.
a lot of people go to stuff that they're told to go to.
Right.
You know, I love just going to a theater and seeing a poster for something that I haven't seen advertised because a lot of times that draws me in better. So The Big Lebowski was one of those movies, and I absolutely love that film. Another one too, 1999, Everybody was going to Phantom Menace and being disappointed by that. I saw a little movie called Office Space, which didn't have a huge audience when it came out, but boy, it's got a big audience now, and I've
Hmm.
interviewed a couple of people from it. So it amazes me, and Kung Pao lands on that list. Like I said, when I left the theater, I was laughing my ass off, and people were complaining at the very stuff that they weren't getting.
Well, let me ask you this. So it's 2022. What are your favorite movies now? You know, any movies that people are sleeping on that you really like a lot, or do you still watch movies now?
Yeah, I still go to the theater.
Hmm.
You want me to tell you a movie that I saw back? Actually, it would have been 6 years ago now. Cheapers, where's that time gone?
Uh-huh.
I went to a movie 9 times in the theater, and I've never done that before. And I wasn't even planning to go 9 times. I saw a movie, I saw advertised a couple of times, and it grabbed me. And it was a movie Richard Linklater did called Everybody Wants Some.
Hmm. Never heard of it.
It's called the spiritual sequel to Dazed and Confused, because Dazed and Confused was set in the last day of high school in 1976. Well, Everybody Wants Some has totally different characters, but it's set in 1980 at that last weekend before college begins for these students. And I would have been 8 years old in 1980, and the music that was played in this movie started with My Sharona, ended with Good Times Roll by the Cars, and it just took me back. I love the characters. I've interviewed a couple people from it,
Hmm.
and I saw it. I went back the following night and saw it again. We only had it for 2 weeks. During that 2 weeks, I saw it 9 times, and what would happen is I would go home, I'd go to work the next day, and the movie would be in my head. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go check it out again. And then after the third time, I was like, okay, I saw it 3 times. I'm good. It would be in my head the following day. And it was like, I went back again. Here's the funny thing. There were people working in that theater that saw me in there, and they'd be like, you're here again? And I like, yeah, I love this movie, but they would never question me had I been seeing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was because I was seeing something that wasn't all over the drink cups at your local fast food restaurant. And I just really loved the movie. It had wonderful 80s music that I grew up with, stuff that came out right around that time with the movie set. And I just had fun with it. And I love making those discoveries.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell. So your show, because I'm not really familiar with you or your show, but I've
Mm-hmm.
read about you winning all these awards and stuff. Is your show, is it primarily about interviewing people involved in movies, or do you do other stuff?
Oh, everything. I've had
Hmm.
I've had people involved with music on here. I've had Tony Basil on here. I
Oh,
had
wow.
I had Tiffany on here.
Uh-huh, I remember
Yep,
her.
yep. I had Carl Dixon from Coney Hatch on here. You know, and if people passed away, I'll do tribute interviews. Like I've had Alfred Hitchcock's granddaughter on here.
Hmm.
Audrey Hepburn's eldest son has been on here. Um, I've had Sarah Karloff and Bella Lugosi Jr. on here, and um, Rowdy Roddy Piper's son and daughter have been on here, and
Wow.
yeah. Oh, Zoe Tamerlis Lund from Ms. 45. Her widow's been on here 5 times,
Is that
talking
right?
about her. Yeah. So, and I've had authors on here. In fact, last night I interviewed a guy that does custom made figurines.
Is that right? So are you on every day?
No, like I'm recording this. This is not live.
Uh-huh.
I go down to the station on Sunday nights and I'll stick my flash drive in
Hmm.
and I'll play an interview. And depending on the time, I'll do a little introductory saying I recorded this interview at such and such a time, and enjoy.
Hmm.
And but in terms of the interviews, like when I get them, I first thing I need to know is where the person's located, so I can establish the time zone difference, and that just goes from there. Like I've been reviewing movies since 1996, and I just loved watching movies. I always went to the theater and went to the drive-in as a little kid, and but I got involved with CHSR in 2005 when my best friend Colin here had just suggested it. And since it's a campus station, they have a variety of different shows on there, like previously mentioned, Strictly Hip Hop. And so I called them and they sounded very interested. So I went down and met with them. They seemed to like it. They didn't have a film critic. So I did a film review show playing music as in between film reviews for 10 years down there. And then through a third party, I ended up with an interview with Tommy Wiseau from The Room. And that was something a little different. And Tommy Wiseau was quite the character. It was my first interview. And if it had been just Tommy Wiseau one and done, it would have been great. But after that interview, it was like, who else could I do this with, And I come to be surprised when people started getting back to me, and I've gotten really, really good at this, Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and now I'm doing them on Zoom. I started doing the conventions, I had a guest invite me to a horror film convention to a sister at her table.
Hmm.
And I couldn't say no to that. So it ended up me traveling for the first time in my life. And I got my name on some movies as well, and it's been quite different. And I'm basically like I don't get paid to do this. This is something I do for fun. I work as a cleaner. I'm an essential worker. So I'm kind of like, there's nothing important about me. So I consider it an honor when I come in contact with somebody like yourself. And I'm like,
Uh,
great. No, I mean that. I mean that. When you got back to me, I was like, I text my brother and I said, I got the boombox guy from Kung Pao Enter the Fist. He knew what I was talking about. He knew what I was talking about.
well, how'd you find me?
What I did was I looked up Kung Pao and I went through the cast and I would go through and I would see who had a Facebook or an Instagram or something of that nature where I could reach out to them.
Hmm.
And I had to be very careful with Kung Pao because I didn't know how many of these names were people that were in the original film.
Right, right.
I reached out to Steve Odekirk and Jennifer Tung. I can't remember who else, but you were among those, and you're the
Hmm.
one that got back to me. And I was like, I was excited when you did, and the fact that you've informed me that you talk more about DJing than Kung Pao. I'm
Hmm.
really glad this sets something different for you.
Yeah, it really does. And one of my dreams, when I was telling you about goals and stuff, is to eventually. I've been in other films too, but
Hmm.
I would love to really make it big as an actor as well. So if there's life after Kung Pao, I really hope it happens to me. But yeah, it's really great, and I love what you do. One thing my Sifu, meaning my Kung Fu teacher, taught me, because he owned a grocery store and everything. And I remember sitting in his office as a kid, and this is Bruce Lee's best friend. And I said, Sifu, how come you're sweeping the floor and you got all these people working for you? And he said to me, he calls me Nestor. He goes, Nestor, never feel like you're too good to sweep the floor. And that's all he said to me. And it didn't dawn on me what he meant So now I respect everyone, with and I congratulate you on your new job, man. I mean, hey, that's I have no problem with what you do, man. I think it's great. I respect everybody. I do have a problem, one problem with you, Greg, and
Uh,
don't be mad. Okay, you ready?
uh,
Those headphones you wear, I remember those back in 1970. I think you need new headphones.
Actually, you know what? These headphones here, my brother recommended these for me to do the interview because I got the mic right here.
Oh yeah,
Yep, yep,
they
little
look
mic
pretty
piece.
big, man.
Yep. This is what my brother had recommended, and he's a tech guy, so this is what he uses for gaming and stuff like that. So
Okay, all
when he,
right.
yep, so that's what I went with. He knows better than me, because I'm not a tech guy, but um, but they work very very well. But going back to Kung Pao, did you? I was going to ask if you had a favorite scene, but I should say ask what scene made you laugh out the loudest?
What scene made me laugh to laugh to laugh? Uh, prob Yeah, there were so many of them. I think I, probably it's probably a toss between Birdie, 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 and your clothes are black, your clothes are red. Between those two, because that's something that I keep thinking about, and it's just hilarious, man. Or when when he's running to save Betty, and then he goes, "I'm coming," and it looks like he's coming closer to getting her, and the next thing you know, he's still way far back. I'm coming, and he's running, and and he keeps doing that, and then this net falls over him, and he gets captured. But the net is only like this big, and then he acts like, oh, like it's a huge net, and he can't get out of the net. It's the little things like that I find really funny, and plus watching me dance
Mm-hmm.
makes me laugh all the time.
So Master Betty doesn't come to the clubs.
No, and there was a stand-in, a person who looks similar to Betty that's in the film also, and yeah, I wish I knew how to get a hold of him. I would tell him how to reach out to you. But if I ever do, I'll pass on your info though. You know what I mean?
What
Yeah.
about Wimp Low? Does he come to the show? I like that name, Wimp Low. Yeah.
You know what? I don't know what happened to anybody in the film, man. I'm still trying to find the one-breasted woman, but don't tell my wife that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I love this film. I had so much fun with it. I got your IMDb on up here, so I should ask about other films that you were involved with.
Well, one that's kind of a cult classic, and it was the worst one out of all of them. Well, I wouldn't say out of all of them because they made more, and it was worse than that one. But House Party 4, which originally starred Kid and Play, the first
Yeah.
three had Kid and Play in it, Martin Lawrence, all these big actors. Then when House Party 4 came out, it was without Kid and Play, and they had a group in there named Immature. They were the stars, and but Megan Good became a popular actress to this day. Came from that film, but my part in the movie, everyone said was the funniest part because I played the gay pilot for Gateway Airlines, and so again, I went in there not knowing what to expect, and then it became like kind of a popular part. So that one was one of my favorites I've been in. I was on NBC's ER. I played a DJ, whose teeth got all knocked out from being in a fight because they stole my gold teeth. So that was my character in there. So I basically didn't act. I just played myself as if though someone stole my gold teeth. you know. Uh,
What
yeah. So
about
those are the
Purgatory House?
yeah. That one's another. That was an independent film. I've done a lot of independent films like that one, Scratch Merchants. I did one with Alyssa Milano. I forgot the name of it. It was a pilot, and it never got picked up as a series. Speaking of Odenkirk, there's another Odenkirk, Bob Odenkirk, who
Yep.
Better Call Saul. Well,
Yep.
he actually directed me in a FedEx commercial, and I didn't know who this guy was. I just said, "Wow, you have the same last name as Steve Odekirk, but I think they spell it with one letter is different." And then he was one of the nicest guys ever.
He
And
was a
then next,
nobody last year, wasn't he?
oh my God, that was a, you know what? That's the, not talk about films that aren't very popular. That movie was so good. I was shocked because if you meet the guy, he's just like a regular kind of a regular guy, and then here he is in Nobody playing this hardcore gangster, whatever, and then he was on Breaking Bad. He was Saul, the lawyer. And I
Hmm.
was like, I go, God, that guy looks familiar. Oh
Yeah,
my
but he
God.
hasn't fought any cows yet, though.
No, he hasn't fought any cows, but I tell you, it's just a trip when you actually meet the guy and then to see him blow up really big. Like with me, with rappers, I've known Ice Cube
Hmm.
before anyone knew who he was. I knew Ice T before anyone knew who he was. So I've known a lot of these rap artists, um,
Kid and Play.
before I know them,
Yep.
before they blew up. So it's kind of neat to see how they evolved into that, and they're huge now. So hopefully one day I'll be that way too.
I like that Kid and Play song, Funhouse.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I like that. Yeah, you were in Little Heroes 3.
Hmm.
Yeah. What was it like working with Alyssa Milano? I remember her very well growing up.
Woo! I tell you, man, I feel guilty, man, because I'm a lot older than her, man. But I had a crush on her like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, we all did.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about from the Who's the Boss days.
Ah,
It's like, okay, should I feel guilty liking this girl? But everybody had a crush on Alyssa Milano. I mean, it's almost like back in the days, I had a crush on Maureen McCormick, who played Marsha Brady.
mm-hmm.
But I was her age back then. So with Alyssa Milano, I was like 20 years older than her, having a crush on her. But,
Well,
but
you know
working with
what?
her. Hmm.
I got a crush right now on Emma Stone,
Oh
and
yeah.
she was born 16 years after me, so but I think Emma's cute, but Emma's
Mhm.
also interesting, so every time she does a movie, she manages to reinvent herself somehow, but yeah, I get it, like growing up, like I like the pretty girls as well, Alyssa
Mhm.
Milano. Tiffany was all over my bedroom wall, I remember well.
Really, Tiffany too, huh?
Mhm.
Wow. Well, here's one who's older than me. Since you brought up someone older than you, was who's the girl in Dynasty? Not Joan London, but what
Joan
I'm talking about?
Collins.
Joan Carl. Oh my gosh. Woo! We talk about a MILF. Oh man, that was my MILF.
Now, to me, the most beautiful woman I've ever seen is Grace
Uh-huh.
Kelly. I don't think I've ever seen anybody as beautiful as Grace Kelly.
She's from the like the 50s, right? Is that
Yeah,
her?
she was in Hitchcock's Rear Window and To Catch a Thief, and
I know you're talking about. She is gorgeous. And
yeah,
and when you brought up Hitchcock, I have a good friend who loves classic movies, And
yeah,
I recently got turned on to Hitchcock movies, and I think Hitchcock is one of the greatest directors ever. And then
yeah.
I realized he's kind of like Stan Lee. He's in all the movies. You'll see Hitchcock in it like for a quick second in a majority of his movies, But yeah, if anyone has a chance to watch a Hitchcock movie, they are classics, and I'm not talking about Psycho and Birds. His other films are
I
just
love them
good.
all. Yeah,
Yeah, they're good. He's a great director.
yeah. I had his granddaughter on here, and I had Marley Peterson, who was the stand-in for Janet Leigh in the shower scene in Psycho. So,
Oh, really? Oh,
mhm,
that's another beautiful actress, Janet Leigh. Wow.
yeah,
Woo.
yeah. Now, I want to ask you a little bit about your DJing, because I've interviewed a guy who DJs here in Fredericton. So I'm going to ask you a question I asked him, and
What's
he
his
had
name?
Rob Pennick,
Okay.
Uncle Rob Pennick, they call him.
All
I've
right.
done a couple of interviews of him. He's from right here in New Brunswick, Fredericton here. But I asked him what was the first song he ever played on radio when he was doing that, and his was, he actually remembered it was "Small Town Boy" by Bronski Beat.
Hmm.
What was your first song you played?
First rap song or just any song?
Any song.
Well, when I got into commercial radio, meaning getting paid to being on the air, there was a song that I used to sit in the parking lot going to school, listening to the radio, and say, "One day I'm going to be on the radio and I'm going to play this song." And when I play this song, I'll know my dreams and goals came true. Another story about believing in yourself, and the song was by the Spinners called "Working My Way Back to You." I've
Oh,
been
I know
working my
that.
way back. Yeah, and then I just remember playing the song on the radio, and then here I am, I'm Nasty Ness, 1025. We got the Spinners working my way back to you right here on 1250 K Fox. And I'm playing and I'm going, wow, my dream came true. So I don't know if that was my first song, but that was a song that really stands out the most because
Yeah.
I visualized that one day I will be getting paid to play on the radio and being an on air personality. And that would be the song that I know that I made it. So that was the
Oh,
song.
wow. You
Yeah.
know what? I grew up with that song. I remember
Yeah.
that song. But
Hmm.
now we're on the subject. What was your first rap song you played?
Oh gosh, I go way back, man. I mean, the ones that people will really remember is probably either Curtis Blow, The Breaks, or Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight. Uh, one is that or that, are the ones people would know. I mean, you've heard of Curtis Blow, right? The Breaks.
Not
He goes,
that one, no.
okay, now I know you gotta have heard Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight.
Mm-hmm.
You got a hip hop, a hip it, a hip it, a hip hop. You don't stop rocking to the bang bang boogie. Where they play the music from Chic, Good Times. I mean that is the probably the most classic rap records of all time. Is Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight.
Yep. No, I like all kinds of music, I love it. But when sometimes you can put stuff in stuff when you DJ. Do you ever, like, when you're spinning a record, do you ever add in a wee
No, no, I haven't. But I tell you though, majority of people identify me with hip hop, but I but aside from hip hop, I love and don't laugh, man. I love the Osmond Brothers, One Bad Apple. I grew up watching the Partridge Family. I don't think you were
wee?
even born yet when that came out.
I was
Uh,
born in 1972.
oh, okay, so it came out like 1970. I love
Mhm.
the Carpenters. I
Mhm.
love oldies. I love the Beatles.
Why would I laugh at you for that though?
Well, the Osmond brothers, people would go, "Dang, man, you like Donny Osmond?"
There's nothing wrong with that. I love the Beatles,
Oh yeah,
Oh
Beatles.
yeah.
Oh man,
Jeepers, I've got a
forever dog.
yellow submarine shirt over there somewhere. So, you
Great
know,
record. Hmm.
yep, I love all kinds of music, all kinds. I can listen
And
to it all.
that's awesome, man. That's awesome that you have an open mind to everything. Because
Mhm.
as far as a DJ goes, I think a true DJ will appreciate all kinds of music and not just be stuck on one type of music. But if you like all kinds of music, because I tell you that is my medicine. Even if I hear a Glenn Campbell song, man, it makes me feel good. It takes me
Mhm.
back. Like the Spinners. You remember that song,
Yep.
so you know brings back some memories.
Well, it's like I was saying about Everybody Wants Some. That soundtrack, just stuck with me. So many great songs, you like Pat Benatar was on that, and like so much. And a lot of times with movies, music can really play a part in making that stand out. Like Saturday Night Fever had a great soundtrack. High
My favorite.
Fidelity. High Fidelity had a great soundtrack, and I
Hmm.
love the fact that that was set in a record store. Um, yeah, there's so many great soundtracks out there, and you identify a lot of these movies by their music. And
So if I say Richard Gere, American Gigolo, what song would you think
Call
of?
Me,
Exactly. So your point, you made a good point. Call Me by. Do you remember who did it?
Blondie.
Yeah, there you go.
Gorgeous Debbie Harry.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yeah, I do know. Yep, Call Me. That was a huge hit, that song was,
Hmm.
Yep. Um, yeah, there's so much like that. The Fame soundtrack was really great, Um, and then stuff like Rock and Roll High School with the Ramones and
Hmm.
like I could just go on and on as to some of the sounds that come with some of these movies. And I love even stuff like Tangerine Dream with Risky Business added a lot of mood and atmosphere to that movie. Or Fast Times at Ridgemont High was another one, had a great soundtrack album. And I hear some of these songs, it just takes me to not just the movie, but even the first time seeing it. Kung Pao had a really great theme song or theme music.
Oh, Black Betty, right?
Not Black Betty. I'm talking about the song that closes the movie.
Which one was that? Hmm.
It's not doesn't have any lyrics to it. It's just music.
Okay, I have to watch it again. Hey, you
Hmm.
said your show's not live. You can edit it, right? You,
I have no idea how to edit on here.
oh, you don't. So if I ran into a quick bathroom break, am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, I can pause it.
Okay, can you pause it? Cause I got to really take a quick bathroom break.
I can. Yeah, I'll pause it
All right.
right now.
Okay, here we go.
All
I'll be
right.
right back.
Absolutely.
Okay, unpause.
Here we are. We're back. Yes.
We are back.
And he got back in one piece. He did not run into a cow there
Nope, nope,
because
nope,
only
nope.
Steve Odekirk knows how to handle those. Yeah. But no, I love this movie. I'm so glad I was able to have you on here. I just wondered, do you have any charities that you're involved with that you want to plug and promote on here?
No, I'm not involved with charities, but I do make appearances at, and one in particular is up in my hometown, Seattle. It's regarding Parkinson's. It's something that I'm learning a lot about,
My
and
mom has it. Yeah.
yeah. Well, what happened was a high school classmate who was younger than me has it, and then he reached out to me because he knows I have a big following in Seattle, and if I announce that I'm going to be there, we'll bring a lot of people there to donate, and a lot of people showed up, and the only thing I really knew about Parkinson was about Michael J. Fox
Hmm.
and Muhammad Ali had it. But I really didn't know too much about it. But then when you know someone that actually has it, it's a whole different story. So that's something that I've taken interest in, and also a little bit with cancer because my mom passed away when I was 18 years old from
Oh, I'm
cancer.
sorry.
Yeah, so that's another. If I did get involved with a charity or whatever, I would definitely uh, be involved in cancer and Parkinson's disease. How about you? Do you get involved in that? In anything?
Just stuff with suicide and depression awareness and stuff like that. Mental
Awesome. That's
illness.
great.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
So I have one charity challenge that I throw out there after Robin Williams had passed away. Um, you remember the ice bucket challenge?
Oh yeah. Uh huh.
Yeah, my dad's got ALS, so he's had it for 8 years. He's still around. Um, but after Robin Williams left us, one came out for suicide and depression awareness called the Doubtfire Face Challenge, and it involved taking a pie in the face and you nominate three people.
Oh, never heard of that one.
Yeah,
Huh.
I threw it out to some of my guests. In fact, I just had was talking to Sandy Johnson, who was Judith Myers in the original Halloween, and she had done it.
Uh huh.
Yeah. So I've thrown it out to a few of my guests, and if they want to do it, I donate to the charity of their choice in return. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
That's nice.
So that's the one that because depression is never taken seriously. That's just it's swept under the rug so many times.
Do you know
So
anyone that has that? I Have you met anyone that actually has depression?
Oh yeah, I'm actually coaching an actress right now who has it, who knows I'm on antidepressants now, but I beat depression twice
Mm-hmm.
without antidepressants, and it's a long process, but um, the actress knew I had beat it a couple of times, and she contacted me because her stepfather passed away, and she was really close to him,
Mm-hmm.
and she's had a hard struggle dealing with it. So I've had a few phone conversations with her, a few texts, and I check in with her every now and again. Um, and it was nice. I got a text from her not too long ago where she said that I was just checking in on her, and she said she was just thinking about me the other day, and she seemed very pleasant about that. And I was like, you know what? It's nice. I don't mind coming along somebody and saying, it's this battlefield you don't have to go through by yourself. You know, it's like depression's a war. It's always nice to have somebody have your back.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
how do you know if someone has depression? Because I know like Robin Williams is the last person I would think that has it, but a lot of people that have it are usually the ones who are always seem like they're always happy. You know what I mean? Like how
It,
can you tell?
yeah, that's a good question. That's a very good question. I know with me, you were able to tell because I was always down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I kind of come around. I've got a much better attitude about myself than I did.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I did was I gave myself a makeover, and part of the inspiration for that was Saturday Night Fever. Because
Really?
yep. Um, that scene where John Travolta is walking down the street in the opening with the paint can and he's dressed in the black,
Oh
and he's got
yeah.
the bright red shirt. I
Mm-hmm.
walked past Tip Top Tailor's one day and I saw the red shirt in the window and I was like, you know what? I know what I need to do. Part of the problem with me is I had problems growing up relating to women, and I never was able to hook up with women, and it affected my self esteem. Well, I would go to the nightclubs with my friends, and one night, one of my friends and I went to Tim Hortons, which is a coffee shop here, franchise here in town, and there's one location that was all night. And he was complaining because he didn't like what he considered the quality of women that were hitting on him. And I was looking at him with the bright light of the coffee shop, and he had hair all over his clothes. And I said, were you mauled by Chewbacca or something?
Mm-hmm.
But I remember going to the theater. I saw The Wolf of Wall Street, and I liked the movie, but I felt so down watching Leonardo DiCaprio and Margot Robbie hooking up in it because I was like, must be easy for Leo. And I walked out, and, of course, Saturday Night Fever being one of those movies that I've watched a lot, had a lot of inspiration from. When I saw that red shirt in the window, I knew what I had to do. So I went in Tip Top Tailors. I bought the red shirt. I bought a black blazer. And I always wear black jeans because I find black goes a lot with everything.
Yep. Yep.
And here's the thing, I figured out what the key to that scene in Saturday Night Fever was. It was not about John Travolta hooking up with women, it was about confidence. That's what it was. I didn't hook up with any women after that, nor am I trying to. I gained my confidence. And I think that was what I was missing, you know? And it's done me well. And I also have a better appreciation and outlook on women than I did before. So I know last time I was at the nightclubs with my friends, it was just very casual, it was just, but I'll tell you one story. When I after I got the makeover, I went to the nightclub with two of my friends. And there was one shooter girl I always liked to talk to there. And she come over and she started talking to my friends. And I noticed she didn't recognize me. She didn't recognize me. And finally, my friend Collins says, "You didn't say hi to Greg yet." And she turns and her jaw just drops. She said, "Wow, you look great. I didn't even recognize you." She gives me a big hug,
Mm-hmm.
and I've I thought that just all I did was just give myself a different change of clothes, and now I've got two black blazers. I got a silver blazer, and I've got not just a red shirt, but I got all the different colors,
Mm-hmm.
all the different colors because I love color, and I just and now I can also dress casually like this and still sound like this
Mm-hmm.
because I don't sound at all like I did, say, 10 years ago.
I hear you.
Yep. So I got a better outlook, and it comes in handy when I do the conventions, because people don't want to be around somebody who's down all the time. So when it comes to depression, I try to let people know I've dealt with it. I've beaten it before more than once, and I don't like seeing people end their life, So you know, but I do believe in life after death. I believe in God,
Mm-hmm.
but I like to also believe that you can trust Him to see you through things. So
Amen. Amen to that, man.
yep.
And you know what? It's for me. It's not all. Before in the past, this guy used to always tell me, "Hey, nastiness, image, image, image." So I would wear the gold rings, drive a
Hmm.
Rolls Royce or whatever, image, image. But when you break it down to it now, none of that stuff means anything to me anymore. It's what's in your heart. Because if
Hmm.
you have a big heart and it comes through with your personality and how you deal with people, man, I tell you, man, that'll win over not just women, but but people in general who may be able to open the door for you, man. And you sound like you have a good heart, man. For sharing. I didn't know this interview was gonna get into depression, but with you opening up like that,
Yep.
you're very sincere, and I truly appreciate that because I'm learning. But I think you have a great heart. Just for even reaching out to me, because one thing when the way a lot of people reach out to me. One thing the way you did was you're very polite, you're honest, but you were polite. And when you say you're going to do something, you came through and you did it, and you didn't waste any time. And that to me that shows a big part of a person's personality and how they deal with life, deal with people. And if this makes you feel any better, man, you're on the right path, man.
You want me to tell you something I tell people when it comes to podcasting? Use the three P's: be polite, be persistent, be patient. You
Yes, there
know,
you go. There you
yep.
go.
Like it took me 5 years to get Nancy Allen on the show. You know, I reached out to her 5 years. Finally, I figured out how to get my foot in the door with her. And I ended up donating to a charity she was involved with that I didn't know she was involved with at the time. Was We
So real
Spark.
quick, for those that don't know who she is, because I'm not, I heard the name, but who's Nancy
Oh,
Allen?
Nancy Allen was in Dress to Kill. She was in Carrie, RoboCop.
Really? Wow, I love
Yep,
those movies. Hmm.
he was in I Want to Hold Your Hand. Um, she was in that movie with Wendy Jo Sperber, and Wendy Jo Sperber started We Spark charity, and because she had cancer, and when she passed away, like she made convinced Nancy to be the executive for it. So I made a donation to it, and she saw that, and we connected. And so I got the interview, and I get to contribute to a really good charity, and yeah, it takes all sorts. That's how I got Jessica Harper as well. She and her brother had a disease called PXE, which I'm still not 100% certain what that is all about,
Hmm.
but I made a donation to that, and the people in charge of it, because I donated in her honor, they let her know, and next thing I know, I got an email from her, and I was able to set up an interview. Um, so it's a good way to get. Then if the interview didn't happen, you're helping a good charity, but which I don't mind doing. But I've been doing this for the interview stuff since 2015, so I've done over 550 now. So uh, I'm liking it. I enjoy doing this. I'm glad. I love reaching out and highlighting a film like Kung Pao. I don't know how
Yeah,
many. I don't know how many 20th anniversary salutes it's going to get this year, but certainly getting one from me.
yeah, that's great, man. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. But,
So
but remember, it's Kung Pao enter the fist. You got to put enter the fist to make it
enter the
complete.
Kung Pao, enter the fist. Yep.
That's the complete title. Yep. Otherwise, if you just say Kung Pao, people think you're talking about food on a Chinese menu. So you got to stress Kung Pao enter the fist, and then they'll know. Oh, okay, they're not. He's not talking about food because Kung Pao is a really popular dish in Chinese
Oh, is it?
restaurants. Yeah, yeah. You didn't know that? Yeah,
I
Kung
didn't
Pao
know
chicken.
that. No.
So if you go on the menu, you'll see Kung Pao in there, and yeah. So just letting you know, just for future reference, so people know that are watching this, we're not talking about food.
We're talking about the chosen one.
Yeah, we.
Oh my goodness, I could listen to that all day.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna watch the movie sometime this week, man. Just for old time's sake, man. Just because of you, man. So I appreciate it. But listen, man, I really appreciate you reaching out to me, man.
Yeah.
And
Did
it's
you
really
show
been.
this movie to your wife yet?
Oh yeah, she's seen it. Everyone that's been in my life has to have watched it at least once, because it's something I'm really proud of.
Does your
And
wife go, wee,
no, she doesn't, but she actually laughed at the movie because she has no clue when it comes to martial arts. But majority of my close friends are all martial artists, and they can relate to it because of they get the joke like you did. They got the joke. My sister to this day doesn't get it, but that's fine. She's just proud to see her baby brother in a movie.
Well, you know what? I'm so happy to have you come on here today and talk about this movie.
Me
I
too.
love Kung Pao Enter the Fist, 20th anniversary, and talking about your DJing, that was something I didn't know about you until I was researching you for this interview. So, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm seeing the plaques all behind you there, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, I love your background there. The only thing you're missing is a framed picture of the chosen one
Yeah, I don't have that yet.
and Master
One day.
Betty.
I do have the poster though, the movie size poster, and how I got that was friends of mine. Yeah, they're DJs called the Wonder Twins, and they're
Hmm.
in New York. And when they put the posters outside the movie theater in the
Hmm.
frame thing, they actually broke it open and stole the poster and mailed it to me. So I have the poster, but yeah, that's about it.
You keep it hung up like over the bed so you guys can stare at it when you go to sleep.
Well, I've taken the poster down since because I don't want it to wrinkle or anything like that. But if but one day I'll probably put it back up and just stare at it when I go to sleep. We'll see. If you have a picture of the one-breasted woman, I'll put that up and I'll go to sleep really well.
Oh, don't tell your wife that.
But don't tell her that. I'll just say, oh, that's my friend Greg's girlfriend.
And what's your friend Greg's girlfriend doing on her ceiling?
Yeah.
Well, Ness, thank you so much for coming on here. I want you before we go, I want you to plug your website and your social
Sure.
media on here so people can reach you.
Yeah, feel free to hit me up. Well, I do have a website, but it's strictly dealing with hip hop, and that website is rapattacklives.com. Rapattacklives.com. My show that I do every Sunday night are all archived on that website. So if you want to hear me play all the classic old school stuff like MC Hammer and even Tone Loc, just you can go on the website and hear it. Aside from that, my social media on Facebook, it's at Nastiness, and I spell nastiness with one S, so it's NASTYNES. If you're on Instagram, at nastiness818, on Twitter, at nastiness with a numeric one. So you can find me in all those, or just Google my name like you did, and I guarantee you'll find me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And before I let you go, would you mind doing a plug for my show?
Yeah, you know what? If you want me to record one and then you can use it for future use, or you want me to just do one here? Or you want one a visual plug? A visual
Yeah.
plug, or
Yeah, like this. Yeah.
okay, what do you want me to say?
Just state your name and state your name and say we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of Kung Pao Enter the Fist,
Hmm.
and say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey, yo, what's upper? I'm DJ Nasty Ness, aka Nes Rodriguez, aka the Boombox Henchman. Why? Because I was in the movie Kung Pao Enter the Fist, and believe it or not, I know I look young, but we are celebrating the 20th anniversary right here on my favorite show with Greg Gilbert on the Python. Oh God, what was the name? Greg, are you
Paradise.
listening? There you go. See, that's how much I love the show. I forgot the name. It's called the Python Paradise Show. But listening to Greg's show, it's a great show. And he's a great guy. And once again, we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Wee 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 wee.
Oh, Ness, thank you so much for coming on here today. It's been a real blessing.
Yes, sir, man. I had a good time, man, Greg, and we'll keep in touch. All right.
Absolutely. I'd love to keep in touch with you.
Excellent. All
And
right. Hey, anything else?
when this goes out, I'll send you the link and you can
Yes.
put it up anywhere you want to.
Oh man, I've got a lot of followers, man. So you just do that, and I'll plug you, and then you'll probably be more famous than me. All right.
Will I be as famous as Betty?
You'll be more famous than the one-breasted woman. I guarantee you that.
Your clothes are red.
Yeah. Hey, and you know what? Find out more about who does the hip hop show, and get me the info. They might even know who I am if you tell them my name and everything. But that'd be great if you can connect me with that. Okay.
I'll see what I can do. Okay.
All right. Sounds good, Gray. You have a marvelous day today, man. Thank you. I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's been a great interview, and you take good care of yourself. All right.
Thank you very much, man. Take care.
Okay. All right. See you, Greg.
Bye bye.
Bye.